We're back. I'm sitting on my floor again for God knows what reason. Probably because I like the look of the plants. I wanted to do a little chatty vid with you today, and I wanted to talk about all the ways that I plan and structure and organize my life. I feel like I'm one of those people who does need structure and I need organization, and I thrive off knowing what I'm doing when, and just it allows me to relax. Like, having structure keeps me more relaxed rather than me trying to like free flow and figure out what I can get done as I'm doing it. But what I wanted to do is basically just go through and show you guys all the things that I do to help keep myself organized. I'm always coming across different things. I tend to change up what I'm doing every now and again, like if I do find something better or something that I like more. Firstly, I'll give you a tiny bit of background. Previously, to organize myself, I was using a bullet journal. This was a couple of years ago, maybe like 2017. The reason that I stopped doing a bullet journal is because I took on my premium coaching clients for me to be able to organize them. Like, some people aren't even in the same time zone as me. Like, I've got people in the US, I've got people in the UK, whatever. I'm happy to work with people from wherever, as long as we can find phone call times that line up. So what that meant for me is I needed a system in place which could shift at last minute if something needed to be moved. Okay, let's start off with trusty Google Calendar. It's free, it's easy, it's simple, you can color code it. That's where we're good. So with my Google Calendar, I like to do a lot of time blocking. I have done a blog post all about time blocking as well, and what I do, so I'll leave that linked in the description box. Some of the information in it is a little bit older, but it's still applicable. The reason I like to do time blocking is because I have lots of miniature tasks to get done throughout the day. So by setting off sections of time, that allows me to do that. This gives me enough structure to get things done, but it's not so prescriptive that I feel like I'm falling behind. So what I do instead is I pin my to-do list into my reminder section. So I pin them above where the date is, and that way they all stack together, and it'll be like 23 reminders for this day or whatever it ends up being. And then also, a topic which I'll touch on in a minute, my Asana links up to my Google Calendar, and it like combines together, and the due dates from my Asana do appear in my Google Calendar, which is really handy, and I can toggle them on and off. Now, if you do a lot of meetings or appointments, or you have to schedule things in with other people quite regularly throughout your days, I have Google hooked up to another app called Calendly, and with Calendly, my clients can go in, they can check out what times I have free in their time zone, and they can just pick a time that suits them and they can book that in. So that way the client calls automatically schedule in to my Google Calendar. I also use the calendar to plan breaks and time out, which is something that I didn't used to do, but I feel like you should include this. Like, your recovery, your downtime, your, I guess, self-time is important, and you do need to remember to include that as well. I get more done when I remember to take breaks, but I just actually try to schedule breaks in now, and that was something which I was really bad at previously. So if you work for yourself, make sure you're giving yourself breaks. And then obviously with study, any things that are due, I'll also pin due dates, and I'll do time blocking of what I want to work on. So for example, it would be like assignment or whatever, like I'll just make sure that there's blocks there for that. And sometimes I put countdowns in as well. So for example, if I had an assignment due, I'm just going to pull a date out of the air. If I had an assignment due on the 20th of February, I would set a little reminder notification as well on like the 13th of February and be like, assignment due in 7 days. And then I would have another one a week prior to that, just so that I'm aware and conscious of those due dates. If you're someone who does struggle, like if you have a lot to do and you feel like you don't know where your time goes, a little task that I would recommend doing is searching for those time leaks. So what you can do is open the notepad on your phone, and you're going to jot out half-an-hour increments. And throughout the day, you're going to track every hour or so, update it, aside from when you're sleeping, like when you wake up, fill that in. Every hour, I want you to update that, just so you remember what you've been doing and fill in what you're doing when, because you'll probably find like, oh crap, I've been scrolling on Instagram for like an hour and a half. Like it's very easy to do things like that, or to get carried away. Scrolling on Instagram is not self-care. This one's probably the newer one in my arsenal, and this is Asana. So it's a project management tool. I'll be using it for any new launches that I do. I also use it for any collaboration projects. So obviously I don't work on my own anymore. This tool is great for that because I can add other staff members to the board and we can all collaborate on there. I can set due dates, I can set reminders for things. I can also set tasks to specific people and include check-off lists as well. And they can toggle through different options. They can set it for needs review so I know when to jump in and do something. With Asana as well, I also like to do basic business structure things. So I set out Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 with any projects and things that I'm thinking of launching or will have going on. And then I also like to use Asana for my goal setting. So whether it's, and this is a folder that only I can see, like no one else can have access to it, which is good. So I use that just to lay out, you know, goals and things that I want to achieve, whether it's finance, whether it's personal, whether it's fitness, whatever it might be. For YouTube and my blog, I also create a content calendar in here so I know what to post when. And this content calendar syncs across to my Google calendars. Related to the content calendar, I do have an app on my phone which I use called Planoly for my Instagram. Obviously for most people, you don't need to worry about this, but if you're someone who is growing a brand or if you use Instagram for business purposes, it could be worth looking into. What that allows me to do is plan out my Instagram posts in advance. I can write my captions in there in advance. And that means when it does come time for me to post, because the best time sort of for me to post is early in the morning, like 6 a.m. So I don't want to be sitting there at 6 a.m. racking my brains trying to figure out what to write. I like to try and write and plan things when I'm feeling inspired to write and plan things, not just sort of spur of the moment. On a similar topic, if you are a content creator, something to look into perhaps for 2020 if you want to get more organized with the digital side of your business, with the web side of your business, is Squarespace. So I do want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. So it's got excellent blogging tools, not just from the perspective of design, which is super easy, drag, drop, put things wherever you want them, upload things directly into there. It's super simple, but also from the perspective of workflow. So to keep yourself more organized, rather than having documents and bits and pieces all over the place, you can work on everything directly in Squarespace. You can have it in draft stages, need review stages, so that you make sure you're going back and double checking and picking up all those typing errors. Something I do a lot. And then on top of that, all your analytics data is in there as well. So you can see geographic breakdowns. You can see where your traffic is coming from. They've also got all your social media integrations as well. So you can take a whole nother step out of your process and feel super organized when it can auto post to Twitter, can auto post to Facebook, and everything is automatically properly tagged, referenced, and all the pictures will display. If you did want to try it out, I still do have a discount code which you can use, and I'll put the URL for that here. And I'll place it in the description box. So if you want to try it out, you can set up your blog or website free of charge, and then as soon as you're ready to share or post whatever it is you have been creating, you can take 10% off with this discount link. Now I've covered the content-y sort of side of things. When it comes to more real life stuff, another way I do like to organize myself is with my Apple Watch. Not mandatory, but it is useful. I do like to use it to track my sleep, and then I also like to use it, especially on days where I'm doing calls with clients, I love to have it synced up. So I have a calendar app on here, which is called Today, and what it does is it actually does countdowns to my next things that are due. So it'd say, like, for example, if I had a workout coming up, it's like legs in 22 minutes, and then the next task it will have how many minutes until that as well. Now more on the real life thing as well, I feel like everything is just apps. Like it's so much digital, but you know, that really works for me. So I have another app, surprise, called Bring. You may have seen me use it in a few of my other videos. I know I tend to get questions on it. A lot of people are asking what it is. The layout is really simple. So it's called Bring with an exclamation mark on the end, and I pretty much just do my grocery list in there. So every time we run out of something that I know we eat quite frequently, I'll always write it down in there, or even when we're running low, just so that I know to get it, because otherwise I forget. I feel like my brain doesn't want to hang on to these kinds of things. So that app is useful, and I can also access it on my watch as well because it is cross-compatible. So sometimes I'll go out without my phone, and then I've still got my shopping list on my watch, which is really handy. In terms of food, I love to use Livesum to organize what I'm eating. Now this is simply from a perspective of like, yes, I love being a data nerd and knowing the calories and macros, but it's just such a good way for me to have, again, structure, which is something that I thrive of. So I don't like the idea of counting calories as you go. I feel like it leaves you with a funny bit at the end of the day, like unless you're like super onto every single meal. So what I like to do is in the morning, I'll eat my breakfast, and then after that, I'll plan out what I'm having that day. So I use Lifetime as a way to go, okay, well, these are my targets for the day. So what do I feel like having? And I'll plan it all in. I will have eaten breakfast by this point usually. So then I plan dinner, then I plan lunch, and I use any weird leftover macros and calories. I'll fill them with the snacks. So that's a little cheat to the calorie macro system. On a similar note as well, I do set reminders in my phone alarm to eat my food because otherwise I forget. Like sometimes I get carried away. Like the time where I'm most likely to remember to eat is breakfast or immediately after training. The rest of the day can just turn into an absolute shit show. I get into this like locked in focus stage, and when I get like that, I don't remember to break, and I forget to drink water, and I forget to eat my food, and I really lock into things, and I've always sort of been like that. So I just put a few reminders in my phone, and it's just like, eat. And that just reminds me to go and get my meal from the fridge or go and cook something. Another way that I like to be organized is through food prep. I find that that's a way it just keeps me on track. It keeps me eating well. When I eat well, I feel so good. I feel mentally clear. And now I don't normally talk like back end of business stuff because that's just not what my channel is really about. But another thing which does help keep me really organized is there's a program website called Xero. It's an accounting software. I find that helps me tremendously. Sync up business bank accounts, whatever you want to run through there. You can reconcile all the data immediately on there. I can send out any invoices through there as well, and it will track them, send reminders, all that kind of thing. Very handy. And you can give access to different people, so accountants, bookkeepers, whatever it might be, just for them to work through and do like business statements and things like that. I feel like currently is the most organized I have ever been with my finances. Like, ever. I don't even know how long I've rambled for now. I'm really sorry. You know, sometimes we want to feel like we can get more done, or we just do things in a more efficient way. I'm really all about that. It's finding the most efficient way to do things. It just feels good when you get stuff done with minimal stress. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I probably listed a lot of different softwares and things as well, but I didn't start using them all at once. These are things which I've slowly added on. Let me know as well, what do you like to do to be organized? Because maybe I can pick some things up, or someone else in the comments can pick some things up on it. Let's start a thread of organization tips. These are the programs and things that I like to do. Anyway, I hope you guys are well. My leg is going completely dead from sitting here, so I'm gonna finish the video here. All right, feel free to come and join me on Insta if you want. I'll catch you next time. My foot has pins and needles. I need to go. See you guys.